Hi everybody, welcome to another video. We're starting here today with the ICEBRAND versus all the bosses in the game. ICEBRAND is a double hitting sword, so that means if you jump, you probably get 2 hits instead of only 1 if you had stroke from the ground, so it does very much damage. Going on here with the Doppelganger 10. It has a pretty good animation, a very unique animation when you hit Doppelganger. He gets covered in ice. That's pretty cool, and only 2 hits are enough to deal with that early game boss. Hippogriff is our third boss here. Again, we're gonna abuse the fact that if you strike the boss in the air, you probably get 2 or more hits instead of only 1, and it's a pretty decent boss fight even though he has a bunch of HP. Minotaur and Werewolf, we're gonna try and jump here to deal more damage to the Minotaurs. It's actually a bit hard because his axe can hit you. And dealing with Werewolf here, just avoid getting hit as much as possible, and they're dealt with. Lesser Demon here, as you can see in the top left corner, he's not actually a boss, he's not listed in the bestiary as a boss, and he's a pretty easy one at that. Karasuman is a boss that gets a knockback animation after it gets hit, so pretty easy to abuse the double hitting mechanic of the ICEBRAND. Moving on into Aurochs. Trying to deal with him with short hops here to abuse again the double hitting mechanic. And his second phase is actually pretty easy as well. I always try to stand behind Auroch so he has to turn around, trying to hit his upper body and head where he has less defense. Even though he's hitting us here a couple of times, it's actually not dealing much damage, so we're pretty much okay with the amount of hits we got here. Succubus, again, she stands in the air for most of the boss fight, so pretty easy, just a few seconds of dealing damage and she's gone. Scylla's Worm here, very quick to deal with, and we actually get hit here in the Scylla actual boss fight, but she has very little HP, so she's dealt with no major issues. Cerberus is where the ICEBRAND actually shines. Cerberus is weak to the ice damage, so we actually do more than 100 damage per hit, and he's dealt with pretty easily. Off to Granfaloon here. Granfaloon is an annoying boss because he spawns those bodies on the floor, and actually you're gonna see me here using a pretty hidden mechanic here. We get gravity boots up and the bodies on the floor despawn, so we actually get hit a little bit less and we have more time to hit Granfaloon's core, which is the part that matters most, and he's dealt with relative ease. We're off to the Richter boss fight here. He's actually the final boss if you're going for the bad ending of the game. He's a pretty annoying boss. I have a background in randomizer and we usually don't fight Richter in the randomizer, so he's a pretty annoying boss to deal with, given that I have little to no experience fighting him.
Magnificent, but now feel my unbridled wrath.
We do abuse the iframes from the Hellfire spell here to dodge his Hydrostorm item crash. And even though he got hit a few times here, he's dealt with. So if we're actually going for the true ending of the game, we need to fight Shaft's Orb here. The orb actually has no HP, dies after 10 hits of damage, so that's what we're trying to do here without hitting Richter. To the first boss of the second castle here, Darkwing Bat. Pretty easy boss as well, just jump around and try to hit him as much as possible. He doesn't have that much HP, so he shouldn't be a problem at all. The Medusa boss fight, second boss here in the second castle. This boss actually has a bunch of HP as well. And I actually tried to show off the ICEBRAND special attack here. It doesn't do a lot of damage, as you can see here. We're dealing 58 damage with the normal attack and 55 with the sword special. So not that great of an attack. Ekmodan boss fight here. We're pretty much gonna repeat the same move with a jump slash downwards. Looks easy, but it's a really tough thing to do consistently until Ekmodan dies. He actually has one of the longest death animations in the game, so we're gonna just stand still here waiting for it to go away. The fake trio boss fight. This is one of the hardest bosses to deal with in this challenge because I'm not using spells to help with damage. So I'm gonna try to take one at a time here. We're gonna start with Grant, and after he's gone I'm gonna focus on Trevor, specifically because whenever Trevor gets killed, Sypha goes into a long animation to summon the fake zombie Trevor. So we're gonna use that opportunity to deal as much damage to her as possible. So my goal with this fight is always to leave Sypha for last, because she'll be easier to deal with than the other two bosses. So Trevor's dead here, so we're gonna abuse the fact that Sypha's gonna stand still for a few seconds and do a lot of damage to her, and she is dead. Beelzebub here, another very tough boss to deal with without the use of spells or ring smashes or stuff like that. So we're actually gonna try and dismember him. The last hit needs to happen on his core, but dealing damage to his limbs actually lower his HP pool. It's actually an interesting fact here that should help you guys deal with this very tough boss fight. So after dismembering Beelzebub, I'm gonna try to deal damage to his core as much as possible while avoiding his flies. And there we go, Beelzebub is dead. One of the toughest bosses in this challenge is dealt with. Creature is very easy, just spacing needed to jump slash him without getting hit by his hammer, and he's dealt with in a few seconds. Doppelganger 40, the same deal as Doppelganger 10. Interesting note here, we're dealing 69 damage, pretty nice number. And just repeat, try to loop his AI. Don't get too close, otherwise he transforms into Bat. You might get in trouble with that, but other than that, relatively easy boss fight. The Death boss fight here, very interesting fight, also doing 69 damage to the first phase, which is dealt with no issues at all. And the second phase you can only slide below him and just jump slash, and you shouldn't have too much trouble dealing with that. Galamot here. For this boss fight to go a little bit quicker, I used an attack potion, strength potion, and I also have a Ring of Varda equipped, so that's why we're dealing 150 damage per hit. I'm gonna take this opportunity, guys, while Alucard is hitting Galamot and Galamot is headbanging, to remember you guys, if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. It helps me a lot and it's free, so no downside at all. So So Galamot, the highest HP in the game, is dealt with. Pretty cool death animation here. And the rip in the tile below Alucard here just seals the second to last boss fight. In the Shaft boss fight here, if you backdash into the left wall and jump straight, Shaft will never hit you, so I'm gonna take advantage of this mechanic in order to do as much damage to him as possible without getting hit. And Shaft is dealt with, relatively easy boss fight. And we're off to Dracula. So in this boss fight, we're gonna try to start dealing damage as much as possible, as early as possible. And it's gonna be just a game of jump slashing to maximize our damage output while dodging Dracula's attack. He has a pretty easy to manipulate AI. So if you're standing on the left side of the screen, he's gonna attack using his right hand. And the same goes to the other side. If you're standing on the right side of the screen, he attacks with his left hand. And when we're starting here, the second phase, he always does his 3 heads attacks. We only need to worry about the third attack. And after we dodge that, we use a Hellfire to dodge the triangle's attacks. And Dracula is dead. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.